She got angry that I left her daughter out of my will, but I wasn't even allowed to discipline her. Hello Reddit I+ here. So, I'm in my 60s now, and I've been married to Lydia for almost 10 years. I have a daughter, Mia, from my first marriage, and Lydia has a daughter, Charlotte, from her previous relationship. I've always treated Charlotte like my own, but the truth is, things with her have never been easy. She's always been a handful, and honestly, I don't know if I ever really got through to her. Let me start by saying that this whole thing is incredibly painful for me to talk about, but I feel like I need to get it off my chest and get some perspective from people who might understand. So here goes. Lydia and I met when Mia was about 8, and Charlotte was 6. I was a little hesitant about getting involved with someone who already had kids, but Lydia was great, and the girls seemed to get along well enough. Fast forward a few years, and Mia and Charlotte were both in their teens. Mia was a bright, responsible kid, always doing her homework, helping around the house, and generally being a decent human being. Charlotte, on the other hand, was a different story. Look, I get that kids are kids, but Lydia was always making excuses for Charlotte's behavior. She'd skip school, lie about it, and when she'd get in trouble, Lydia would step in and smooth things over. I get it, she's her daughter, but it was frustrating. I felt like I couldn't discipline her without Lydia intervening. Every time I tried to set a rule or correct Charlotte, Lydia would defend her, saying I was too harsh, or that she was just acting out. At first, it wasn't a huge issue, but as the years went by, it started to get worse. Charlotte never really faced consequences for her actions. Meanwhile, Mia was growing up, becoming a mature, responsible young adult. I was proud of her. She was everything I had hoped for in a daughter. But Charlotte? She was still the same reckless, undisciplined teenager she'd always been. It was hard for me to ignore the difference. I tried to step up and be a father figure, but I was always shut down. Every time I attempted to correct Charlotte, it felt like I was being made the bad guy. Eventually, I just gave up trying. I stopped enforcing rules because it felt pointless. And honestly, it hurt. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I wanted to be more involved in her life. I wanted to be the father she never had, but I couldn't get past the constant enabling. A few months ago, I turned 60 and decided it was time to think about the future, about my estate, about my daughters, and about what would happen when I'm gone. I had some savings, a small house, and a life insurance policy. Mia, as my biological daughter, was always going to be the main beneficiary. But when it came time to include Charlotte, I hesitated. I won't lie to you, I didn't feel comfortable leaving her anything. It wasn't that I didn't love her. I did, in my own way. But I couldn't bring myself to leave her anything after all the years of feeling like a secondary parent in my own home. I wanted to leave everything to Mia. She was the one who had always respected me. She was the one who had earned it. Charlotte, on the other hand, had never been held accountable for her actions. How could I give her anything when I couldn't even give her the discipline she needed? I didn't want to be cruel, but I just didn't feel like I owed her that much. I didn't feel like I'd been given the chance to be a father to her. I had always been an outsider in my own family, and that's hard to accept when you've been trying your best. So I made the decision. Mia would get everything. I didn't put Charlotte in the will. When Lydia found out, she absolutely lost it. I mean, she was furious. I was sitting in the living room, minding my business, when she stormed in, red-faced and shaking. "How could you leave Charlotte out of your will?" she demanded. "She's your daughter too. You've been in her life for over a decade, and you're just going to turn your back on her?" I was taken aback. I'd expected some resistance, but I wasn't prepared for this level of anger. I tried to explain myself. I told her that I couldn't include Charlotte because I had been trying for years to be a father to her. But every time I tried, she undermined me, and you constantly defended her. I wasn't asking for much, just some respect, some acknowledgement of the role I played in her life. But Lydia didn't want to hear it. She told me I was selfish, that I was being unfair, that Charlotte had always looked up to me, and I was throwing that all away. I didn't know what to say. It was like everything I had felt, all the frustration, all the years of trying to be a good father, was suddenly being thrown back in my face. But the thing is, I had been the one who'd been pushed aside for so long. I couldn't keep pretending like nothing was wrong. And then, the bombshell came. Lydia said she wanted a divorce. "You've chosen Mia over Charlotte. You're rejecting her, and I can't stay in a marriage like this," she said, her voice shaking with emotion. I was stunned. I didn't see it coming. We had our problems, sure, but divorce? Over this? It didn't make sense. But I guess for Lydia, it did. She didn't see how much I'd suffered, how many times I'd tried to make things work with Charlotte. She didn't see how broken I was from always being pushed aside. The divorce was messy. Lydia fought me on everything. On the house, on the will, on everything. She wanted me to change the will, to give Charlotte something, to make it all right. But how could I? I wasn't going to reward behavior that had been allowed to go unchecked for years. Lydia and Charlotte ended up contesting my will. They hired a lawyer, and Charlotte, now an adult, joined in, claiming that she had a right to what I had worked for. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the principle of it all. How could they demand that I leave something to someone who had never respected me? Someone who had always been given a free pass to do whatever she wanted. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. My will stood, but the damage was done. Lydia and Charlotte cut me off completely. Mia, of course, stayed in touch. But it was painful. I felt like I had lost everything. My marriage, my relationship with Charlotte, my sense of peace. I'll be honest, I still don't know if I made the right decision. Maybe I could have done more for Charlotte. Maybe I should have tried harder. But after years of being undermined and feeling like I wasn't even allowed to discipline her, I don't know what else I could have done. Now, I'm just trying to move forward. I've lost a lot. But I still have Mia, and I'm trying to rebuild my life. Even though the betrayal still stings. It's hard to know that the people I thought I could trust the most are the ones who betrayed me. But I guess that's life. You can't control how others treat you, no matter how much you try. The months after the divorce were quiet. Lydia and Charlotte went on with their lives, and I tried to focus on what was left of mine. Mia, bless her, was still there for me. But the silence from Lydia and Charlotte was deafening. I couldn't believe it had come to this. My marriage falling apart over something that, in the grand scheme of things, seemed so small. But one afternoon, out of the blue, I got a call from Charlotte. It had been months since we'd spoken, and hearing her voice on the other end was a shock. "Dad, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry," she said, her voice unsteady. "I didn't understand back then. I never realized how much you tried, how much you cared." I was speechless. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. All the anger, the resentment, the pain of being treated like I didn't matter, it all rushed back to me in a wave. "I know it's too late for a lot of things," she continued, "but I need you to know that I'm sorry for everything. I took you for granted, and I'm sorry you had to feel that way." It felt like a weight had been lifted, but the truth was, it wasn't enough. The years of hurt couldn't just be erased with an apology. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like Charlotte might finally be growing up. Maybe there was hope after all. "I appreciate the apology, Charlotte," I said, my voice rough. "But I'm not sure things will ever go back to how they were." She paused, then sighed. "I understand. I don't expect things to go back. But I hope we can find a way to move forward, slowly, if that's what it takes." I thought about it for a long time. I wasn't ready to forgive her completely, not yet. But the conversation gave me a sense of closure. Maybe, just maybe, there was room for healing. As for Lydia, I haven't heard from her. I'm not sure what I expected after all this, but the silence feels final. I guess I'll never truly understand her actions. But maybe that's something I need to accept. Life goes on. I don't know where it's headed, but I know I'm done trying to fix things that aren't mine to fix anymore. All I can do is keep moving forward and hope that whatever happens next, it'll be for the better.